Ron DeSantis tried to launch a very new way of launching a presidential campaign that kind of crashed and burned on Twitter, trying to use a technology that existed on Twitter, but certainly not for as many people as were interested in tuning in. And so we all were there. It was, I think it was 5 p.m. our time, Central Time, so pretty early. Kept trying to click through, and I kept getting booted out. And finally, I just couldn't get through. So I had no idea what went on there. I said, okay, I'll record Trey Gowdy and the interview, and I'll figure out what happened there. But Logan, just to start there, it gave a lot of ammunition to the Trump team to do what they are best at, because immediately they put out the meme of the rocket. First of all, they used the Ron DeSantis logo as the old Jeb logo, and the rocket crashing. I don't know if we have it for people.
Yeah, we do. We can play it. Certainly, yeah, that was the immediate response, which, by the way, got probably the biggest laughs from my children of anything, because I watched it with my kids, because I was actually excited for them to see a candidate running. This is kind of the first time they've been old enough to probably understand the primary process.
Yeah.
So we all sat around to watch it. I mean, I was going to watch the Fox one with them. I actually I was one of those few people that got into the platform on Twitter, into Spaces. I think partially because I got on very early. I got on probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes early, when there was only about 45,000 people in. By the time it launched, there was about 800,000 people in. That obviously did not get off the ground, if you want to say.
And right now, if I was Ron DeSantis and his top leaders, unless some of those top leaders need to go, I would be clearing some house. Not everybody, but the people that were responsible for this, who did not do their due diligence and have the right answers ready to go if this failed, because we were using new technology and the right way to spin it, knowing that the Trump campaign was going to go after them with the biggest punches they could throw. That's what they do.
I can really look beyond the glitch, because I've been in that situation, not where that scale, but I've been where this show can't go live, because sometimes tech just doesn't work how it's supposed to.
I know I was on the show yesterday, though, saying this is very risky.
It was risky, and it was risky in a different way than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a technological risk. I was expecting it to be an awkward conversation with Elon.
Very risky, because this is technology that had not been utilized.
Here's sort of two things. Now, this is going to take about a minute, so if you're listening, know this. This is sort of a answer that he says on Twitter Spaces, followed by the answer from Trey Gowdy, and you can hear how it is incredibly prepared.
Like he was going to say this on both regardless.
Yeah, and I think we should play that and listen to it.
Claiming that Florida is unsafe is a total farce. I mean, are you kidding me? You look at cities around this country, they are awash in crime. In Florida, our crime rate is at a 50-year low. If you look at the top 25 cities for crime in America, Florida does not have a single one amongst the top 25. And if you look at cities like Baltimore and Chicago, you got kids more likely to get shot than to receive a first-class education.
Okay, so that was from Twitter Spaces.
And here's the Fox.
Here's Fox 2 hours later.
First of all, Florida's crime rate's at a 50-year low. Compare that to places like Chicago or Baltimore. I don't hear the NAACP talking about that. If you look at our education system, we have school choice. That's one of the reasons why our black students perform as high as just about any black students in the country. We're second and third in fourth grade math and reading, respectively, because parents have options. You go to Baltimore, Chicago, some of these kids are more likely to get shot than to actually have a high-quality education. I don't hear the NAACP talking about that. So
it is fine to have
a message,
prepared messages. Completely fine. It is fully expected in politics. Don't sell me that you're going to have an hour or a half-hour long conversation and give me just pre-written, scripted, beat-for-beat answers. Not that I don't agree with him. The thing is, I agree with him in that message. I agree with him on a lot of the things he said. Actually, I doubt there's very few things probably in his Twitter Spaces or that he did on Fox that I would sit there and go, no, you're completely wrong. But me, the prospective voter, goes, I didn't like the formality in it. It was a little less casual. And also, to give something to Donald Trump, when my son sat down and watched the Donald Trump town hall, he understood a lot more of what was being said and what was being communicated than he did with DeSantis, using very interesting language and words that maybe a large portion of the audience may have to go Google.
This was not supposed to be adversarial either on Twitter or on Fox News. Trey Gowdy is a friend of Ron DeSantis. They came up together in Congress. And so it was a friendly conversation. I mean, with a friendly host. It wasn't like Trey was going to go after him in any way, and yet he still felt like he could not get out of that mode, which there has been criticism of DeSantis is that why are we not seeing a big rally? Is it that he doesn't perform well in those settings? But that's tough when you're up against a Donald Trump.